The feeling of a perpetually messy home is a common experience, despite consistent efforts to tidy up. This phenomenon isn't always about a lack of effort, but rather a complex interplay of habits, psychological factors, and the very nature of our living spaces. Let's explore some of the underlying reasons why a home might seem to resist organization. One significant factor is what's often called clutter blindness. This is when we become so accustomed to the objects in our environment that we no longer truly see them. A pile of mail on the counter or a stack of books by the sofa might initially be noticeable. Over time, however, the brain learns to filter them out as part of the normal background. They become invisible, blending into the landscape of the home, which means the impulse to deal with them fades. This isn't a sign of carelessness. It's a cognitive shortcut the brain takes to manage a constant influx of visual information. The items are simply no longer registered as things that are out of place. Another common element is the lack of designated homes for items. When an object doesn't have a specific, logical place to be stored, it tends to drift. Think of the remote control, your keys, or that pair of scissors. Without a dedicated spot, these items are put down on the nearest available surface. This creates small pockets of disorder that quickly multiply. When it's time to tidy, there's no clear answer for where these things belong, leading to a frustrating cycle of shuffling them from one temporary spot to another. A space can't remain orderly if the items within it are functionally homeless. The just-in-case mindset also contributes significantly to household clutter. Many people hold onto items not for their current use, but for a hypothetical future need. This could be anything from old electronic cables and extra buttons to clothes that might fit again someday. While it seems practical, this tendency fills valuable storage space with objects that serve no present purpose. The home becomes a storage unit for a life we might live, rather than a functional space for the life we are living now. This accumulation makes it difficult to find and store the things we actually use every day, which in turn adds to the visible mess. Decision fatigue is another powerful, yet often overlooked cause. Every day, we make countless choices, from what to eat for breakfast to how to handle a complex work task. By the end of the day, our capacity for making sound decisions is depleted. Cleaning and tidying require a constant stream of micro-decisions. Keep or toss? Where does this go? Does this need to be washed? When mental energy is low, it's easier to postpone these decisions. Postponing often looks like leaving things out, creating piles to deal with later. That later rarely comes, because the next day brings a fresh wave of decisions, and the cycle continues. The physical layout and limitations of a space can also work against our best intentions. Not all homes are designed with practical storage in mind. A lack of closets, awkwardly shaped rooms, or insufficient shelving can make it structurally impossible to keep things tidy. You might have the desire to be organized, but if there's no vertical space for shelves or no pantry for food items, things will inevitably spill out into living areas. We often try to fit our lives into a container that simply was unbuilt to hold it all, leading to a constant losing battle against overflow. Sometimes the issue is a mismatch between our organizational systems and our natural tendencies. For example, some people are visual organizers who need to see their belongings to remember they exist. For them, a system of opaque labeled boxes is doomed to fail. They will pull everything out to find what they need, creating a mess in the process. Others might be pilers by nature, preferring to group similar items in stacks. Forcing them into a complex system of files and dividers goes against their grain and is unlikely to be maintained. An organizational system that doesn't align with personal habits is a system that will be abandoned. The all-or-nothing approach to cleaning is another common pitfall. Many people feel that if they can't deep clean the entire house for several hours, there's no point in starting. They wait for that perfect mythical day when they'll have unlimited time and energy. In the meantime, daily messes accumulate. A few dishes in the sink become a mountain. A small pile of laundry becomes an overflowing basket. By postponing small, manageable tasks, we allow them to snowball into an overwhelming project that feels too big to tackle, perpetuating the state of misneeses. Sentimental attachment plays a huge role as well. Objects are not just objects, they are tied to memories, people, and experiences. A chipped mug from a grandparent, a child's early artwork, or a ticket stub from a memorable concert are difficult to part with. These items carry emotional weight, and letting them go can feel like letting go of a piece of our history. When a home is filled with sentimental items that have no practical function, it can become a museum of the past, leaving little room for the present. The emotional toll of deciding what to keep makes it easier to just keep everything. Finally, we have to consider the sheer volume of stuff that enters our homes. In modern consumer culture, acquiring new things is constant. Online shopping, gifts, freebies, and daily purchases mean there's a steady inflow of items. However, there's rarely a corresponding outflow. Few people have a regular habit of decluttering or removing items from their homes. Without a system for editing our possessions, the contents of our homes will inevitably increase over time. It's a simple equation. If more comes in than goes out, the space will eventually become full and then overflow into clutter. This slow, almost invisible accumulation is one of the most powerful forces behind a perpetually messy house. Experiences differ between households, but these factors are common observations in many living spaces.